It's just some things you can't do no more, and some places you can't go no more. Some things you say you can't say anymore.
On Bourbon Street or not, but
Corinthians said this is oil. It's probably big. What is bigger than oil? This thing is diamonds. Like, it's like so massive.
Not gonna do this with y'all. Y'all not gonna. This is cyberbullying, right? What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, bro? What's going on, man?
How you
what
doing?
What you in there drinking?
Corinthian, man. I'm sipping. I'm sipping on some Arnold Palmer.
I know that's right. Right.
Some tea and lemonade, man.
Arnold Palmer, that's tea and lemonade. I got you.
Tea and lemonade, correct.
I noticed the product placement though.
Correct, man. Listen, man.
That was some great.
Shout out
placement.
to Crafting with Meek. Shout out to Kicking It with the Kellys. Crafting with Meek for the awesome mugs and some other things. And she just celebrated a birthday too, man.
Yeah,
just like you, man. You hold up. You just celebrated a birthday.
Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. We getting old, bro.
We getting old. Grant, one of my coworkers, they said, yeah, I listen to y'all sometimes, and he was like, man, y'all act like y'all haven't seen each other. I was like, we haven't. We live thousands of miles away.
Yeah, we live around 23 hours away.
Yeah. So when I'm seeing you on this screen right now, it's pretty much for the first time. Hey man, how did you enjoy your birthday, man?
Oh man, it was great. Thank you so much to everyone that reached out for the birthday wishes.
Yes.
It's a blessing to be able to see another year. So I was blessed to turn 36 on March the 28th. It's crazy how time is flying, man.
Correct. 36, man. Listen, yo, we getting up there, man. But God has been good, man. A lot of people, I think the scriptures talk about the Bible only promises are like 70 something, maybe 70 or 80.
Yeah, you got between 70 and 80 years, man.
So
we approaching the halfway point. Well, you're approaching it faster than me.
Correct. You know something though, but we both collectively know, some of our former classmates that are not here anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
Through different things, man, and we're still here, so I'm very thankful that I still have breath in my body and air in my lungs, and I still have a right and a sound mind, because somebody woke up today and they weren't in their right mind.
Yeah. I heard somebody say something like, somebody went to bed planning to be here but are not, and I was like, wow, it puts things into perspective.
That puts things in perspective for real. Somebody went to bed planning to be here but they're not. Wow. Millions didn't make it, but I'm so glad I'm one of the ones who did. Corinthian, welcome to Kicking It with the Kellys. It's Thursday. We on past 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we thank y'all for kicking it with us tonight. We got a lot on the plate, man. A lot of things have happened since we last talked.
since we last talked,
Corinthian, a lot of things that happened. But I do want to shout out. A lot of things happened, but you see what I'm holding right here, though, Corinthian.
Wow. Okay.
I'm holding some library books.
look, you ain't forget this time.
I didn't forget this time. Shout out, Baylor got his books today. Great. We had them other books in his book bag the whole week. I'm talking about he was carrying that heavy book bag the whole week.
Look, it's just weight training. Look, you won't go forget this time.
Correct.
You're not gonna
I
forget.
couldn't let him go slipping. So shout out to Camelot Library, Elementary School Library. Bella got him some different books. I'm telling you, if this happened again, Corinthian, ooh.
Oh, I know you taking off. I know you
Yeah, I'm
taking off
taking off.
work
I'm
and
going
just
up there. I'm going up there. Corinthian, listen, we as you know, we're on. I want to tell a public service announcement. So we're on Facebook. We're streaming from my Facebook page and your Facebook page, and we're also streaming on YouTube Live, right? But we also have the podcast platform where we're on Amazon and iTunes. Now, this episode and last week's episode will be uploaded on the iTunes podcast, and you can listen to that. Thank you for everybody that logged on last week. We had a very good episode talking about value. What do you value? And I'm talking about there were a lot of tidbits and nuggets that you can apply to your life. So I definitely encourage you to listen to that one. You can listen to it. You don't even got to watch it. It was a very good episode. But that episode 3, and this episode will be uploaded on our podcast streaming outlets. So you can be listening to it while you're working out in the gym, running, whatever you're doing. You can watch it. Also, if you're not following us, you can follow, like, and share. That information is in the top right-hand corner on our streaming outlets. But follow me or Corinthian on Facebook, and that way you get updated on what we're doing. And then also our YouTube channel, Kicking It with the Kellys. Go ahead on and like and subscribe. We're going to be pushing that heavily coming up. I'm not pressuring y'all to watch us. We're going to talk anyway. I'm not going to pressure you to watch it, but I'm telling you, when you watch us, you're going to learn something. You're going to get something. You're going to have fun. You're going to be able to ask questions, comment, everything like that. So thank you for coming to kick it with us.
Yes,
all right, that I had to do. I had to do that. The announcements.
Man, did you practice that? Look,
no, I did that. That was off the cuff.
That was right off the top, man. Look, that was so well done.
Corinthian, listen. All right, so a lot is happening. We'll get into some of that a little bit later. But we had a comment. Somebody reached out. And I did want to provide a platform where we can start answering some questions. Again, we're not expert. No, let me take that back. We are experts to an extent on our field and what we've gone to school for and our career path and everything like that. So we will gladly filter or answer any questions that you have that you want to ask us. So you can write those in the comment section. You can send it to our email. You can write it in on our Facebook pages or our Instagram pages. If you have a question or a topic that you think that we should discuss on our show. All right, Corinthian, this one right here was a doozy, and I think we can be a help to somebody right here. But I got a comment from a former student, man. And it's always great getting a comment or a question or being asked something from a former student. And they said, I'm trying to find different ways to encourage my 5th and 6th graders to make good choices and keep them out of trouble getting into fights. This school year has been tough, and I realize that there are so many factors that I can tie into behaviors. Maybe I may be thinking too early. I don't know, but I am also a first-time PBIS coach at my school, and I am just looking for different ways to be a resource for my kids. You helped me so much in high school. I came to your office bugging you all the time, and you were such a great help to me. So, Corinthian. Oh, Lord. You know what? See? She's already started.
Starting up already.
Starting up already. Now we
talk about serious. We're doing coaching sessions.
We're doing a coaching serious right now. And we're gonna get into that in a little second. But we trying to help some kids not slap other kids.
That's what we're trying to do.
Corinthian, listen. A lot of people don't know your background, man. So if you can just give the folks your background, which is amazing. If you can just help folks out right here, and then if you can just dive into a little on this side, and I believe the PBIS coordinator stands for Positive Behavioral Intervention Coach. And they have these in some selective schools. So if you can be of any help, that'll be great.
Well, first of all, Arthur, I love the question. It was a great question, and it signifies two things to me. The importance of dedicated teachers and staff that care, or support staff that cares, because if you care, you reach out and ask a question like that. How can I help my students do better? How can I get more resources? If you don't care, that question never gets asked. So I already can tell already the person has a heart for this type of work. That's step one. So you that's half the battle,
Right.
Having a heart for this work. The youth development sphere, working with young people, that's our greatest treasure. Crafting, molding those minds is very important. My background in youth development, actually, let me take a step back. Before that, if you had told me 15, 20 years ago, I would have worked in youth development in any form or fashion, I would have told you, yeah, right. When I initially went off to college, I was in the ROTC program. I thought I was going to commission in the Air Force and be 13 or 14 years in the United States Air Force. So never in my wildest dreams did I think I would work in the youth development sphere. When I graduated, I did a year with AmeriCorps where I worked in a community learning center in an affordable housing complex in Williamsburg, Virginia. And that was my first introduction into youth development, work with young people. I helped staff the after school program in that complex. We were working with K through 12th graders, offering programming for them. That introduction gave me the opportunity to further those skills. I took a job with an awesome nonprofit organization called Higher Achievement. My now wife started volunteering with them. She was working in the Department of Education. She told me you need to check out this organization. I did. I applied. I got a position in their Baltimore affiliate. I moved up to Baltimore, Maryland in 2010 and worked for the next 8 years directing after school programming. And so that's a little bit of my
hot dog.
background.
Hot dog. They don't say hot dog. They say hot dog.
Doug, dude, two. Yeah, yeah. That's Baltimore. That's Baltimore for you. But I learned so much there working with young people. So just imagine taking ROTC mindset into a public school system, right? I had to learn over time there's importance in structure, there's importance in planning, but there's also importance in listening, importance to understand that you have to know what makes your young people tick. No child is the same. So you have to individualize what you are doing based off the students that are in front of you. In order to do that, you have to know the students that are in front of you. So I'll say it like this. We called our students scholars. Scholars don't care about what you know until they know that you care. All right, that's the first thing I would tell anybody. So how do you demonstrate you care? You should be having conversations, getting to know about the young people you serve, what they like, what they don't like, what's the favorite subject, you got siblings, all that kind of stuff. An effective teacher, like once you see a person that's a master practitioner in the classroom, they know all that. So those are things that I had to learn over time. I had to learn the hard way. But one thing I would say to that question, depending on the age range, okay, Sometimes we think we have to be in such control of your space, such control of the classroom, that we miss the opportunities for teachable moments or miss the opportunities for inclusion of our students. Some of the best ideas that I got for my after school program came from the students that were in my program. It took me learning the hard way to realize the best spokespeople for my program were the students, in the program. The best recruiters for me were the students of the program. The best people to help keep people in line and check are leaders in that classroom. So you should be identifying the leaders in any space, in any education space. Another thing that I had to learn was you have to make any and everything relevant. Things have to pass the so what test. And what I mean by that is if a student if you tell a student on the objective, the learning objective today, we're going to learn about Abraham Lincoln, or we're going to learn about the Pythagorean theorem. You have to be able to explain the so what. So what? Why does that matter? And you have to make it relevant for the young people that we work with. To me, a great educator embraces that challenge because you should be able to pivot and make anything that you're learning applicable in the real world today.
Yeah.
You have to. And then you also have to create space for the young people to use their natural talents, their natural abilities in the classroom. It is okay to carve out some time for the class to come up with some ideas of an effective lesson. And what you do is you let them use their creativity, but they also get to see, all right, it's one thing to have a great lesson, it's another thing to be able to implement that great lesson. To implement a great lesson, you got to have people listening. You got to have rules, you got to have structure, you got to have your timing down, where it's a lot of different variables that you have to take in place. I've actually had a chance to give scholars that were in my program the chance. We had what we call the Shadow Day. Shadow Day was the scholar turned into the center director and I turned into the scholar. The first day, the shadow shadowed me and saw everything I had to do, from when that scholar got there to how I talked to the bus to make sure all the meals was out, check staff in, make sure everything is running. Then the next day, they were in charge. And it was so eye-opening for the young people I work with because they had no idea all the things that had happened that go on behind the scenes to make something run. From the time school lets out to the time you get on that bus to go home. So I said that to say we have to be able to look at challenges as opportunities to insert creativity, insert fun. It's okay to have fun in the classroom. It's okay to make things fun. It's okay to have a competition out of this concept. It's okay to say, hey guys, look, actually that didn't work. That was terrible. What went well? What meat can we chew? What bone can we spit out? And how can we try it again? All those are teaching critical skills. You see what I'm saying? So
Corinthian, wow. And the so what test, that is so important. The so what test, Corinthian. I said, I've served in so many different hats. Wow, Corinthian, that was powerful. I served in so many different hats, obviously in coaching, coaching high school, coaching college, and then with my daytime job or working in the schools, for career paths. But Corinthian, I wasn't in the military, but because of Jet, I understand the importance of the cadence. I understand the importance, and I apply that in everything that I do. You have to have a slogan, a saying, a cadence that keeps everybody on the same page. You can come from so many different backgrounds, be raised in so many different households. But when you apply that cadence, hip, hop, let it drop, let me hear your left foot stomp. Everybody is on board with that cadence. So I've had to understand that, and especially in coaching, because so many different, I'm speaking and I'm trying to teach and I'm trying to incorporate so many different ways of life. And when they leave that classroom, they go to different homes, all teaching something different, whether it be good, bad, indifferent, whether there's somebody there or not. But when they come under your care, we can instill the same message, and then you got to apply it in different ways. So like you just said, when you said that the shadow program, allowing them to see, from your start of the day to your finish, and then let them apply, let them start, okay, I can do this. I'm organizing that. And you kind of said that from that military standpoint, that's how you structure. But Corinth, that's so powerful. How do we stop the fights? Can fights be stopped?
Yeah. So what I'll say with this, to that point, right? In order to have an effective classroom or effective out of school time space, there have to be some rules, rules of conduct, rules of order.
Right.
Okay. Now, one thing that we don't always do effectively is there has to be buy-in for rules to be followed.
Yeah.
Okay. If rules are just set and I don't have any input in creating those rules, how likely am I to follow them? It's totally different though if I'm sitting at the table with you while the rules are being created. Okay, so that's step one. I would encourage anybody, if they're trying to reset or in their classroom at the start of the year, after school program, if things aren't going well, the reset is let's sit down at the table and come up with some rules on how we're going to proceed moving forward.
Yeah.
And then explaining why. We're setting up these rules to keep this place safe, where everybody can learn, everybody feels safe, and we can be productive. Now, when coming up with rules, the teacher I might have had 2 or 3 non-negotiables. We don't curse in this classroom. We keep our hands to ourselves. You got to get permission to walk out of the room. Yep. But outside of that, the other 3 or 4 rules, I want that class to come up with together. And it teaches 2 things. It teaches how to work together. Yeah. It teaches the importance of listening. Like there's a lesson in anything that you do.
Correct.
Then after the class inputs, there are other 2 or 3 rules, because what I'm saying is you don't need 17 rules. All you need is around 5, 6. You don't need many. Okay.
Okay.
But once those rules are created, the next portion I transition to is signing our commitment.
Yeah.
Once we set these rules that we're committing to, that everyone had a chance, everyone had a voice to voice their opinion, to say, I like this one, I don't like this one, we'll vote on this one, we'll add it, we'll drop it. Okay. Once we've all agreed upon it, then I want everybody to sign on the line. And then there's another lesson in that. It's when you have to commit to certain things, you got to sign your name and date.
Yeah.
Now it means it's binding. So even if I'm talking to elementary school students, I'm telling them about, if you're trying to buy a house, you got to sign your name, because it's saying that you're going to pay this every month.
Right.
And then talk about what happens if you don't. All right. So I set up the rules, and these are some of the consequences that can happen. All right. So that's just the foundation, right? Then I would also say it is important in a classroom to set up some kind of incentive system. And it was very easy for me in the after school time space to set up an incentive system. We had a scholar store. The scholar did something good. We defined what good looks like. They would get a ticket for it. Those tickets to be cashed in at our scholar store for prizes. Arthur, you would be amazed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What eighth graders would do
Right.
to get tickets for a scholar store.
Right.
Another lesson, in it. The scholars came up with the stuff they wanted to see. You don't want to make a store where it's just stuff that you think the kids will want. No, you get some input. We'll pick out what we want. If y'all are doing this, you get this.
Yeah. Corinthian. Oh, that's so great, Corinthian. I with my team, they said I used too many big words. They didn't understand what I was saying. They was like, Coach, we're high school students. I'm thinking that they know these words. When I'm talking to them. And then, so I said, okay, we're going to start a word of the day.
I love it.
I sent them a word each day. And I said, the first person to respond what this word means, you're going to, get something. I still owe a couple people some things, so I'm going to get you your stuff.
Make sure
you were saying that at center. But I had to do that because they I want them, this is bigger than basketball. This is life. And I want them to be put in situations to where they can speak like they have some sense. they can incorporate correct terminology to things like that. So I love that in sense of current. I love pretty much they have to buy in to what you're doing.
Absolutely.
It got to be a buy-in.
There has to be a buy-in, right? But now I'll tell you some things that will lend to get you more buy-in.
Right.
The rollout. Okay. How I present stuff. If I'm not presenting anything with enthusiasm, why would I expect the young people I'm working with to be enthusiastic about it? It's totally different when you see somebody, they could be telling kids what we're doing is picking up litter.
Right.
But the way you introduce that, if you introduce it as if it's fun, or we're going to turn it into a game, or the person that collects the most is going to get this, it's all in the rollout.
Oh, it's all in the rollout.
Oh, it is all in the rollout. It is. That is essential.
Corinthian,
you got to sound like you like it.
Oh man, Corinthian, there we go. You got to sound. Yeah. Corinthian, that reminds me of I had to speak at Eagle Ivory, the Baptist student convention in Lynchburg, probably about before the pandemic. And I talked to young men. That was the group that I was doing. I was doing the men's session. And oh Lord, I don't know. I'm getting sound bites and everything. I talked to them about presentation, and I referenced the Cosby episode of Dabness and Vanessa. Vanessa was getting married. She had went to college. She was supposed to be there. Getting her study. She met the custodian Dabness. They come home, and she springs it on Claire and Heathcliff Huxtable that they were getting married. Obviously, they weren't going for that. They sent their daughter to college. They ain't sent her to get married. Well, Mr. Huxtable said, Dabness, what do you like to eat? He said, oh, you like a big steak? Nice porterhouse steak? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like it. And then he said, well, what you like for your sides? You want some mashed potatoes or some roasted potatoes? Oh, yes, that's great. Now, what about your greens? You want some, some string beans, some greens? Oh, yes, and put some mushrooms on the steak. And then so Dr. Huxtable said, well, now I'm going to present it to you. So he said, so I'm about to present it to you. So he went on. He said, I'm going to go over and get this trash can top. And he said, I'm going to put it on the trash can top and I'm going to serve it to you. And he said, that's how you came and presented this information to us on a trash can lid. So, Corinthian, like you said, it's all in the presentation. You got to be enthusiastic about what you're trying to get. If the kids see you that you don't want to be there every day, they're gonna pick up it's no way that they're gonna want to be there every day.
No.
Corinthian, that was powerful, man. I love that. The so what test in the presentation. Corinthian, let me ask you something, because I just learned this today. Let me ask you something, because I think you're gonna say the same thing that I said. When you learned about the compass, How did you learn it for North, East, Southwest? What was the phrase that you used in learning about the compass?
Never eat shredded wheat.
Thank you.
That's how I learned it. That's how I learned it.
I just told, oh my goodness. Y'all, please comment on this. If y'all heard this, this is what I say. Never eat shredded wheat. So, Corinthian, I'm talking to Baylor, Blake, and Akia tonight. And they, you know, they bring forth the compass. And I said, never eat shredded wheat. Oh, see, she say, want. And they going to say, no, Daddy, it's not never eat shredded wheat. It's never eat soggy waffles.
What? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
I will not put that in my glade.
No. Nope.
I don't even know what that was. Then they pulled up some song. I said, "Listen, come on, y'all.
No,
Y'all,
that's that Common Core. That's that common
this new age.
No. Nope.
Oh,
that's why the kids can't write in cursive now. They learn stuff like that.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Corinthian, no, I appreciate you for tackling that question for our viewer. If you're not watching, I'm gonna make sure you get this episode. But you got to start applying some things different. Not everybody's gonna fall in line. It's always gonna be one sour apple. I don't want to say bad. I want to just say sour because no kid is bad, but sour. They have some sour. They just have to be sweetened with something. And it's sweet and sour sauce for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So, you can combine the two. You can add something. You can add some additive to something to make it a little bit more sweeter. So by you being kind to them, by you establishing some rules, some things, some buy-in, some things that they can do, that they can come up with, could make that process better for you in the classroom. Go ahead, Corinne.
Arthur, that was a great summation. The only other thing I would add to that is we had scholar jobs in our after-school program. There were certain tasks that I assigned to scholars, and I explained what I would want them to do and gave them autonomy to do it. If you're passing out papers in the class, you shouldn't pass out the paper. You should have a student pass it out, right?
Wow.
You can assign them to that based off of their behavior in the class. They've been doing good. He gets the privilege to pass out all the papers, or I want him to write on the board for me. And then you rotate it, because all you got to do, 9 times out of 10 in most classes, people want to do what they see their other peers do, right?
Yeah.
So if he passed out the papers today, I want to pass out the papers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is fine. In order for you to pass out the papers, this is what I need you to do. You will keep that privilege as long as you do it. You do what you're supposed to do. So we think about negative peer pressure, but there's also positive peer pressure.
Positive. I love it.
So those in any classroom, in any setting, there's always young people, especially, that produce or show the aptitude for leadership.
Oh, I love
if you're in a class where everybody is not doing right, there's somebody in there that halfway I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
He needs to be on your team, right?
Ooh.
So, and usually that spreads. That's infectious. It's certain kids that are in a classroom that you can say something all day. All that young person has to do is say it one time, and he got 6 people that fell in line for you.
Wow.
You need those on your team. And then I will also say, in the classroom setting, there are ways to effectively channel the student that always got something to say, or the funny kid, right?
Yeah.
Those are leaders, but they just have not harnessed that energy. It's students that have natural leadership ability. They might not be challenged. They might need a little bit more. They might move a little faster than other people. You need them on your side as well. All right. So it is about harnessing that, to where it's productive.
Mm. Oh, Corinne. Hey, if you just tuning in, we were answering a question from one of our viewers on some things that they can be doing in the classroom. It's been a challenging year. It's been a challenging year for everybody, especially in the school system. So shout out to all the teachers and what you're doing. And I'm hoping that the rest of the remainder of this year turns out good for you, that those students have passed SOLs and all the curriculum and everything that you needed to accomplish comes to fruition. Corinthian, we got a couple of things on the agenda tonight. What do you think of this? True power is not in what you do, but in what you don't do. True power is not in what you do, but in what you don't do. Obviously, this past week, thank you, Sean. Do what they want. Yeah, they do. This past week we had some things that happened on the Oscars. Now I wasn't up. I did not watch the Oscars, but I was on Facebook at the time, and one of my friends, they had put a post and they said, "I know Will just didn't do that. I'm so mad right now." And I was like, "What are they talking about? What are they talking about?" But after I saw that, and Facebook tapping our line too, Corinne. I'm talking about these metrics. Yeah, I'm talking about, we talk about something, it pop up the next second. We got to get this checked out. But I just start to see pop. Will Smith and Chris Rock. Will Smith and Chris Rock. So at the Oscars, Chris Rock, obviously he is the master of ceremony for the Oscars, and in his monologue and his opening statement and his things he does in between commercials and all that stuff, he tells jokes. That's what he does. He's a comedian, and he tells a joke about Jada, and in comparison, and a like figure to G.I. Jane. And Will Smith, her husband, he gets up and he smacks him and walks back to his seat. Chris Rock taken aback, as anybody would be, because I don't know what I would have did in that situation. But I'm likely, I don't know if somebody can come up and hit me. I don't know if somebody can just come up and hit me. But I mean, by surprise, he could have been so shocked that he couldn't even think straight, and he's hosting, trying to be professional, so he had a lot on his mind. Will Smith goes back to the seat, and then again to say from his seat, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. He says that 2 times, and Chris Rock is befuddled and really doesn't know what to say, and the show goes on. Corinthian, take it away, sir, because I don't know. Your rights stop where mine start.
Yep. Arthur, I had to pray. I literally had to pray, before this, because I knew this was going to be a topic, because 7 years ago, my response would have been different what it is today. What Will Smith did was so disrespectful, so uncool, so uncalled for, in my opinion. There is no justification for what he did. It cannot be explained away. There is no excuse for why he put his hands on another grown man. 1, and 2, he smacked him across the face. That is so disrespectful. And what made it even worse is, to me, Will Smith in his own right and Chris Rock in his own right, to their professions, are 2 of the most successful Black comedians and movie and TV stars in almost history. They are up there I mean, in terms of what they have accomplished in their own individual careers.
Correct.
And for them to, it's one thing to have an argument and disagreement. It's another thing for it to get physical. And to me, there aren't too many circumstances where it getting physical is permissible in my opinion. To see two successful Black males having that kind of fallout disturbed me. Now, to that point, well, actually, what are your thoughts? I know I was talking.
Well, my sentiments are exactly as you said. When we talk about two of the most well-known people in those positions, they could obviously be on a Mount Rushmore for TV acting and also a comedic genius. And to see it handled that way, it was just a little unsettling for me because, as an adult, I have learned that I can do my best fighting in the courtroom. I don't have to, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I did as a child. But when I became old, I put away childish things. And I feel that it could have been handled a lot differently. Now, because it was handled the way it was handled, it let me know that emotions took over Will Smith. And typically, men are not supposed to lead by emotion. We typically lead by logic, tactic.
Yeah.
And for him to be led by his emotions on something that could have easily been handled with a simple conversation. And if that conversation didn't go the way it should have went, then somebody is being they really weren't sincere in what they were doing. It really wasn't a joke then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it could have been handled a lot different way. So I'm going to press you on a couple of things. What's up, Chico and Sean? Thank you. Sean said poor leadership and role models. People look up to them. That's correct. Van Dyke didn't get our notification. So yeah, we talking about Wilbur. We talking about the incident. Current events. Y'all know, did y'all used to do current events in school? You had to do your current events.
We did.
So we're talking about current events tonight. So we're bringing you up to speed. Corinthian, I'm going to press you after you talk, though. I'm going to press you on some things because we're talking about the male side now. We're going to hear an argument from the female side as well. Go ahead, Frank.
Okay. All right. Now, this is something that all young boys understand at a very early age up to adulthood. Right. Males live in a world of physicality.
Yeah.
You learn that very, very early. If you put your hands on somebody else, there can and will 9 times out of 10 be consequences. We understand that very early. That is why after a certain age, once you understand what hands and feet can do and boundaries can do, by the time you get school age, especially by 3rd grade, if I walk up to people and smack them, there can be a reaction.
Yeah. Right? Typically retaliation. Yeah.
Yes. And because we understand that so early, we go throughout life knowing that.
Yeah.
This is why, not saying, it's not because I can, but should I? Should I walk out when I get mad and just because I'm mad, react in a manner where I'm smacking people?
So
and
what?
The answer is no.
Yeah.
The answer is no, right?
Yeah.
And anything outside of that is bigger, like a bully kind of tactic,
Yeah,
where you just doing it because you bigger and because you know the response might not be greater than what yours is. That's the only reason you going around doing that.
right.
You know, I'll say this, a lesson in the Lion King, right?
Yeah,
Simba, when he was a little cub, was going around saying, "We lions, we the king of the jungle. We should go out, and why can't we just go out and conquer everything?" And Mufasa pulled Simba to the side and said, "Just because you're stronger doesn't mean you go looking for fights,
ooh,
right? You use your strength for when it is needed. Like the strong person should not be walking around and bullying people because they're strong.
right, wow,
They have that strength for when strength is required. They got just enough to handle whatever situation needs to be handled." That's how I was raised. That's how I grew up. Right
wow.
now, in that scenario again, just from a black male perspective, where I'm at now, there are very few circumstances for me to fight another black male or female at this point in my life, knowing what I know now, and maturing to the point that I make. That black male or woman is not the biggest enemy or biggest threat to me. They are not.
All right. So, all right,
No.
Corinthian. All right. So
And especially not no words.
there
No.
we go.
No.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Now, Corinthian. So we got some pressing issues. There's a lot of emotion about this, and rightfully so, because there are so many vantage points. I watched this movie called Vantage Point, and y'all should watch it too. We got to see so many different angles on how this bomb blew up this stage and how it all happened.
With Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, correct.
That's a good movie.
Very good movie. I encourage everybody to watch it because it might bring some things in perspective. So we talked about Will, but now we got to talk about Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And then we have to talk about Jada, and from the female standpoint, all right?
Yep.
So Chris Rock was not the aggressor by laying on her hands, but he did say a joke that for most people was insensitive. Kia said, "Great discussion. Is there anything to be said about Chris Rock? The comedian was the bully in this situation, in my opinion." Well, so it comes to find out that Jada has been very public about her autoimmune disease, alopecia. Is that an autoimmune? I think I'm wording that right. Alopecia, where she has she's been losing her hair. This is the reason why she has shaved her hair off, because she doesn't want to keep dealing with there being, hair here and not there. So she went bald. So Chris Rock got smacked. Did anybody come to Chris Rock aid? That's the question.
So
you go ahead, Grant.
All right. So with Chris Rock, now I want to put this in context. Now, Chris Rock is a comedian that is working at the time, right? So he's not telling a joke at a dinner table or at a party in front of friends. He is telling that joke at work, basically, where if anyone has gone to the Oscars, watched any snippet of the Oscars, they typically have a comedian there that roasts the whole crowd throughout the night. That's the whole. That's why they bring that person.
It doesn't matter. It's the Moon Awards.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It's a typical comedian. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now, that being said, I do see the point where some people say that joke was off color and he didn't need to say it. Now, I would pivot with this before I go into a little bit deeper. What if Chris Rock said, Jada Pinkett Smith looks like she is gonna be in the next Black Panther 2, being the Dora Milaje that all have their head shaved. Would that have made the joke better? Because to me, the Dora Milaje represents strong Black women and things like that. You see what I'm saying?
Ooh,
So would that have been an okay joke? Like, to me, I did not see, even with the G.I. Jane joke, I did not see the malicious intent to tear down, because that person, G.I. Jane, if you watch the movie, that's somebody training to be a Navy SEAL and gets through the process. So the person accomplished something. So I don't think he said it as a diss. Or I didn't interpret it as
one. No,
right?
Corinthian. And can you slide to the right, slide to the left? It seemed like I'm like you all the way over there for some. There you go. Thank you, man.
Okay, my bad. See, I'm looking at the
yeah, man. Appreciate you, Corinthian. Listen, do you know the movie Madagascar?
Yeah.
Chris Rock is the zebra, and Jada is the hippo, right? They work together. They know each other. Like what?
They all friends, man.
How many Madagascars have there been?
Yeah, at least two. At least two.
In my mind, I'm like, what is going on here?
At least two.
Correct. I like how you said that they weren't at the dinner table telling the joke. He was at work.
Yeah.
Doing his job and joking and saying a lot of different jokes. So now are we saying that we have to censor the host of these award shows to the point to where anybody at any time could say that offended me?
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. To me, that's a slippery slope, right? Now, this is the part I do agree with, where I've heard some commentary about Chris Rock instigated it.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now in my life where you can't pay me enough to, on a national stage, belittle another Black person.
Ooh.
That's where I am. I don't care how much money. I don't care how much money, or anything. I do not want Black people to be the butt of any jokes that I tell. So I know I'm not going to be invited to do the Oscars. And you would hope that Chris Rock is at a stage in his career where he could say, no, I don't want to do that joke.
Ooh.
No, pick somebody else to
Corinthian.
do it,
okay.
Right? So
my bad.
Yeah.
No. Okay, Corinthian. Keep on that same topic. And we got some comments that I want to read, and you can respond to these if you want. As a Black man speaking in that way about a Black woman's hair was not appropriate, because we know the struggles Black women have about hair. For goodness sake, we just got the Crown Act passed. The movie reference wouldn't have made a difference. Then we got another one. Will and Jada know Chris Rock personally. And so Will knew he could do that to Chris without a reaction from Chris. It's kind of like the bully who picks on the kid he knows will not defend himself. And then we got a couple more, and then you can respond. If jokes cannot be said about LGBTQ without backlash, and let's add that to the list. Being targeted because of something you have no control over is never okay to me, no matter who you are.
Okay. So what I don't want to do is create the precedent that if somebody says something you don't like, that gives you license to physically assault them.
Right.
That is a very dangerous precedent, because I'll speak from the male perspective. Some people have been raised of the mind, if you put your hands on me, all holes are barred. Like, there is no limit. Right. I see red and I will do whatever.
Right.
That means I bumped into you and now I done broke your arm.
Right.
I've hit you with a bat.
Right.
I've thrown you through a glass table, you know? So what I'm saying is, that's why we keep our hands to ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't know
on the
how
bus,
the other person will react.
this is what we tell kids. Walk, keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands in your pocket. Sit on your
hands. Because then by that, you were saying that the person that you violate in a manner is going to respond in a way appropriate to your level.
Right.
And that's not right. What you deem as a reasonable response, if I think somebody say something to me, I think it's reasonable to slap them in the face. I might have been raised, somebody smack you in the face, it's reasonable to break their jaw. Yeah. It's reasonable to stab them.
Yeah.
It's reasonable. Yeah. Like, so where does that end?
That's we don't, because I believe it's what stand your ground law. You get smacked. Yeah. I mean, what I mean, so I like how you went with the setting the precedent, and we have to do, and we have to talk about it this way, because at what point is it too far? So pretty much, if somebody says something that your spouse didn't like or made them uncomfortable, or you felt that you had to stand up for somebody, and you end up physically harming or putting your hands on someone, are you saying that we should all agree that you're justified in doing that because they said something that you didn't like? I don't think that's the precedent that we want to set.
For any of the young people watching us, you cannot set that precedent, right?
Right.
We have to be setting the example. We have to teach our young males and our young females that you can't react to every situation. A reaction is a split second. I just saw red and I just did whatever. Okay. You have to respond. A response is measured. A response means that you think about the pros and the cons.
Oh, Quentin, say that again.
Will Smith.
React versus respond.
Will Smith reacted based on emotion instead of responding based off of logic. This is how males have to train young males and young females to think. Just because somebody made you mad does not give you license to do whatever to them, because in the real world, there are real consequences to that. Now, what should have happened when Will Smith walked up to the stage and smacked the host in the middle of his job, Will Smith should not have been able to walk back to his seat without security handcuffing him and taking him out of the theater.
Right.
That's what would happen. Arthur, if you walk up on your job and smack somebody in the face, security is going to be called and you're going to be arrested and they're going to charge you with assault. Period. So what I'm saying is, just because the Oscars messed up by not penalizing that bad act, because they should have, Will Smith should not have given no acceptance speech, because he should have been heading down to
he should have been detained.
He should have been detained, right?
Corinthian, but somebody said, here we go. But it seems, hey, Shamika, thank you again. Thank you again. But it seems as everyone is giving Chris a pass because he's a comedian. You can control what you say, but you can't control the way someone reacts to what you say.
Okay. But to me, logically, reactions have to be proportional. Chris Rock said some words, and his words were met with physical violence.
Yeah.
That is not congruent. That is unproportional. Now, if Will Smith, this is how I would have respected Will Smith. If Will Smith had walked up to the stage and said, Chris, can I see the mic? And said, Chris, I did not appreciate the slight to my wife. I would like you to apologize to her.
Right.
I would have respected Will Smith more because the words were met with a rebuke or rebut of those words. And then there was an opportunity to rectify the whole situation. Then I bet you Chris Rock would have said, I apologize. They could have used that as a platform to say, we're not going to take no more shots at folks that look like us for no amount of money, for no public clout, no nothing. They are well enough in their standing to be able to say stuff like that.
I love it.
Everybody might not follow them, but they don't have to even go there. They've made enough money in their careers where they ain't even got to do that, right?
Oh, I love it.
Then they could have shook hands and walked off the stage. So that would have modeled for anybody watching.
Yeah.
I said something, I verbally assaulted someone with my words. I've addressed it. I've had a chance to reconcile. And then we come to an agreement and we go sit down. To me, that is how they should have modeled. They had an opportunity on the biggest stage to model what should have happened.
Yeah.
What Will Smith did set us back in that if you're saying you got license, your boss says stuff you don't like.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, people that say stuff we don't like, or that can be insulting, now you have license to hit them.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is, you will have created a precedent that is unsustainable because now then you will want to try to monitor that person's response or say, well, your response got to be proportional to mine. No, mine, I could go from 0 to 100 then.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's all about the building of a sturdy foundation. You build your house on sand, in the mud. It's not going to stand, the test of time. But you got to build it on something solid as far as how you handle situations and appropriating justice rightfully. But Corinthian, the slap we'll have Chris Rock that Will gave Chris Rock was a cry for help. It was Will saying that I have too much going on emotionally that I cannot handle the load. And if you follow Will and his family, you can kind of see that he does not have a handle on his family affairs. That's a good take. Again, we started by saying that this was based off of emotion, and we got a police officer right now that's saying that Will should have been arrested. I've people for physically assaulting someone many times.
Absolutely.
So yeah. I'm not saying Will should have smacked him. However, what you think you would do most times is completely different from what you'll actually do in that moment.
No, see, that's where I agree, Shamika. That's where I disagree, Shamika. Because men are supposed to think.
Yeah.
Men cannot just jump out.
Right.
So, for example, say you and your wife, because we're both married, are out and we're walking down the street and it's a biker gang that catcall your wife.
Right.
Now, some could argue you're supposed to defend your wife's honor.
Yeah.
Where there's some people that have been trained and misguided where they're going to go out there and it's 1 versus 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we could think and then say, hey, think past this ego shot or this pride, that might have been insulted or injured or the insult of verbal words, and then say, honey, we're going to walk the other way. I apologize. Let's go this way.
Correct, but
that's what I would do.
You didn't stand up for my honor, Corinthian. He said he whistled at me. You're not going to do nothing?
Exactly. This the thing. See, and you would want a wise wife that realizes that, okay, you're out here fighting in the street where your intentions or how far you're willing to go, but you don't know what your opposition is willing to do, right? So it creates a very dangerous situation.
My wife trying to
You will want to be on the same page with that,
right?
You
Right.
know, where it's certain things where it's not worth it. It's certain things where I can fight you in court.
Oh, current, yes. But I just look at Emmett Till, man. What Emmett Till got killed because they said he whistled at a white woman. And as a result of, you know, the husband standing up for his wife, he ended up killing a boy. So if Chris Rock was packing, he could have easily been standing up for himself and shot this man for laying his hands on him. We have to one, pick our battles wisely, but we have to control how we handle situations. Cranky, you use 4 R's that I just want to read out for our viewing audience. And again, if you're just tuning in, we help a former student out. We found out that the campus is never eat shredded wheat. And we're talking about this Will and Chris Rock issue that apparently was squashed, but I don't think those reports were true. I think it was just, you know. But Corinthian, you said 4 R's. You said reacted versus responding. And then you said rebuke and rebuttal. You talked about 4 R's. And Corinthian, I believe that this situation could have been handled so differently that could have had a lot of people seeing how to apply peer mediation to a situation, how to be adults about a situation, and how to admit when you're wrong about something.
Yeah.
And this could have been the opportunity to where a man did stand up for his wife, but did it in a civil way to where everybody's like, oh man, he did something. But now it's reports that his award can be taken away from him because of the conduct that he displayed at the Oscars. And so the Denzel Washington quote, at your highest moment, that's when the devil comes for you, is so important in this whole situation now, because he let his emotions dictate what he did, and now he has to suffer the consequences of what his emotions did in that moment.
Yeah. And Arthur, now the conspiracy theorist in me, because I have some of that.
Right, here goes your statement that you normally say right here.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
If it had been the other Rock, Will Smith wouldn't have went up there.
He wouldn't have did it. If it had been Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, man.
Arthur, you talked about Emmett Till. All right, let's not saying we're playing the race card, but let's look at it with a racial component in it.
Right.
If that had been Stephen Colbert up on that stage from the late night show, and he said the same joke, is Will Smith walking up on that stage and open hand slapping him in the face and being allowed to go back to his seat with no consequence, and then get an Oscar award.
I agree
ain't no way. It's no way possible.
I agree,
because you will have set a precedent on live international TV that no, it ain't no way. It wouldn't have happened.
It ain't no way.
What is overshadowed by this whole thing, where I am extremely disappointed in Will Smith. I wouldn't say I've lost all respect for him, but I lost a great deal of respect for Will Smith.
Man, do you think he's lost respect in a lot of areas? Black men, black women. Do you think he's gained respect with black women? what about the white community, Asian community, Hispanic community? Do you think he's gained respect in those areas? I think he's lost a lot of respect in the black community, black male community. I think he lost a lot of respect. But Corinne, you can keep going. But hey, Mom, Dad, if you're on, thank you for tuning in. The Bible would call it being temperate. Yep, I agree. Being temperate.
So what was overshadowed or lost in this whole thing is who he won the Oscar for portraying.
Wow.
What is overshadowed this whole thing is that he portrayed, and he did a great job in portraying, arguably one of the best tennis coaches, and he wasn't even a professional coach.
Wow.
Because of what he has produced.
Wow.
His oldest daughter, in terms of active singles titles, his oldest daughter, Venus, has the most of any other American other than her sister.
Wow.
With 7. And they both would have more if they didn't play each other.
Didn't have to play each other.
And so what is so beautiful in that story, and they had it in the movie, Richard Williams predicted all of this. He said Venus Williams will be a champion. She has all the qualities of a great champion. And Venus Williams went on to win Wimbledon, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, has 2 other singles titles. I think she has 7. I don't know how many doubles titles they have together.
Right.
And then he says in that same interview, and this interview is when they are 10 and 12. In that same interview, he says Serena Williams plays better than any woman that he's ever seen when she's angry.
Wow.
He said, the interviewer asked, who do you think will be better? He said, I don't like to compare my girls, but I think over time, Serena will win more or be the better player. And it's played out exactly how he said it. Serena Williams has is tied for the most singles titles of all time.
Yeah.
And doubles wise, how many slams they have doubles wise?
Yeah.
And now, not interjecting race into this again. If Venus and Serena Williams were white, they would have statues of them everywhere, in my opinion.
Right.
Because I have seen how Maria Sharapova has been embraced. She's not native-born American.
Right.
And she is not as accomplished as them in any way.
Right.
So
no, correct.
That got lost in this whole.
Everything got lost in translation with this incident. Everything, and I believe this was the first time that the Oscars has been produced or put on or cast by an all-black cast, producer and everything. So everything got overshadowed that night, just because emotions got, and that's just like the Troy, the movie Troy, where the young prince, Helen of Troy, and everything got overshadowed. That one man, he messed that up for everybody. Troy has never been beaten. Nobody could get it, but he couldn't resist Helen of Troy, and because his emotions got in it, he caused his brother to get killed.
He got his brother killed, man. Hector, you remember when Brad Pitt rolled
the Trojan horse, man. I was talking about. So
listen, out the whole city.
Men, when we lead by emotion, I'm just talking about to the men. You got to lead, like we said, by. I mean, you got to think some things through. Don't get messed up because you don't think through what the ramifications are going to be once you go this route. And for the ladies listening, I don't want you thinking that me and Corinthian are not saying that you should defend your wife, because we're gonna defend, but we have to be smart in our approach of defending. You might not agree with how we approach that situation, but hopefully the situation that we put you in is not going to ultimately put our family in jeopardy, whether it be me going to jail, me losing money, things like that. So we can defend you, but we can be smart about the defense as well. And I think a conversation between Will and Chris Rock could have been had, even if he did want to stand up and just say something, put his foot down. I think that would have been appropriate. Even if he did walk up there, okay, it's a little untactful, but if he walked up there and said, "Oh Lord, listen, don't don't be the Trojan horse, man." Yes, I know he go defend. But it could have been untactful, but he could have went in and said something in the mic and could have talked to Chris, and he could have said, "Hey, Chris, I'm gonna stand here until you apologize to my wife." He could have did any of those things, but he chose to put his hands on him. But once you choose to put your right stop when mine start. Tell us what we got wrong. If you're listening in, tell us what we got wrong. If you didn't agree with our stance on the Will and Chris Rock thing, I'm really getting tired of seeing it on my social media threads and everything like that. But this is about to be an ongoing thing because women, Black women especially, are happy that Will did something. They're saying, "Ooh, he defended his wife. That's love. That's how you do it." And I'm like, I'm not sure about that.
See, another aspect that we don't think about is Will has the luxury of having some means and some wealth where if he is not able to work anymore, his family is pretty set. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. His family is taken care of.
Right. Now, imagine if you do that, if you're assaulting people and you have to work every day. So you no longer are employed. How is that protecting your family? So protecting her honor or protecting or making sure she's secure. In terms of making sure she's secure, making sure that I'm still able to provide or have provisions, maintain my house, maintain my finances.
Right.
If my reaction means that I can lose that, I think I need to think a little bit more, about what the appropriate response level is. Because if Will was still, a stand-up comic or having to work instead of being a mega movie star that's, has $350 million net worth right now, he would have lost out on opportunities now because of his actions. And would you say that's a wise or prudent decision, or would you say that is foolish?
Corinthian, you know that term, that's rich people problems. This is a classic example of rich people problems. People in normal society, normal every day, can't do this. No. And I wouldn't suggest doing this. Work and live right next to a school. Will can definitely do another movie commercial. Okay, Kia said if alleged sexual predators can still work, so can Will Smith. They tag teaming right now. The two
can work where? Where can these alleged predators work?
Listen.
Did I read that?
Listen. But see, emotion-led responses, that's what we can chalk that up to be, emotion-led response.
so Akia and Shamika, because I've seen the majority of comments there. So I'm assuming that you're okay with smacking with the smack or the slap. Then I'm just trying to get a better understanding of it.
I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna let them respond if they want to respond to that.
I gotta hear this.
No, not okay with laying on of the hands, and then we have another response of silence.
But okay, this reminds me of. We'll take it off the smack and something that I've had to talk with my wife about. At times, especially when we're dating, and we've gotten better over time. There was my wife, if she was driving, my wife would beat the horn a lot at people in front of us, right? And it was a reaction. She was reacting. She was mad. They cut her off or something like that. She beat the horn. And I was telling my wife, if you continue doing that, you're going to put me in a situation where I'm going to have to defend you. And I don't know what the state is of the person in front of you. You don't know. Arthur, we've seen road rage incidents where I just saw a video of a person that was driving down a highway, pulled out a gun and start shooting through his windshield.
Yeah.
And the point I was trying to make is that we're human. We get angry driving, but just because we're angry doesn't mean that we can always react. It's certain stuff that it ain't worth it, right? So I was telling her, look, you can't be laying on the horn I can understand you laying on the horn if somebody is about to swerve in and hit you, and because they're texting and driving. It's another thing to if somebody sat at that light too long, or just laying on the horn. Right. You don't know who's in the car, and you have no idea how they're going to react.
Yeah.
And if everybody is just going through life just reacting, we're just doing stuff based off how we feel. When I get mad, I can see red and I can react however I want to react. Yeah. That is very dangerous. Yeah. And the point I'm trying to make is people have been killed for less.
Oh, correct.
People have been killed not for a slap, but you just said it earlier, whistling at somebody.
Oh, very, very good question. No, Corinthian, your statements are correct. I've we've been married for a while, and at some point, we have been put in, or I've been put in a situation where I had to respond, and I had to react. I had to do something because of something that a kid did, and possibly, she had to respond or react to something that I did. I had, say something, but you don't never know what that other person is capable of. And me defending honor is, I love the premonition of it, and I love how it sounds. I'm defending your honor, but let me defend in the way that I want to defend, not in the situation you put me in.
Yeah.
And so you have to be mindful of that. But yes, I have reacted off of emotion, especially with the kids. Like you not always putting the logic in it, and you're just reacting to what happened. But I'm trying to learn different coping mechanisms, and I think I've learned a lot. But I have to do things a certain way or a different way, and how I respond to something, and that's that reactive versus responding that Corinthian was talking about. Yeah.
So Shamika, I have reacted off of emotions, but I'll say this. I reacted off of emotions prepared to accept any consequences as a result of those. Yeah. Like what I'm saying is, the reaction is one thing. There can and will be a consequence based off of what I do. If I get mad and smack somebody at work, I can't then act like I'm not about to get arrested and lose that job. Like what I'm saying is I can't say he made me mad and he forced me to do this. No, he didn't. I chose to walk over to you and smack you in the face. So if I'm doing that, that means I have weighed all those things out and I said, well, this is just worth it. And the point I'm trying to make is you cannot escape the accountability for those actions.
Love that.
Whether you're going off emotion or not, the consequence that comes as a result of your actions, what I'm saying is I like to have control over the consequences I receive. And I'm saying if you open yourself up to just reacting and going off stuff based off your emotions, you have no idea where the consequences will end up.
What is the statement? For every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction.
Yep.
So
That's
you know you got
law.
Newton's law. And hold up, is that the one that the apple fell on? What's the one that apple fell?
That's
what happened. Apple fell on your head. Apple fell on your head. Was Chris Rock acting logically when he decided to make Jada the butt of his joke?
He was acting in his profession.
Yeah.
Comedians tell jokes.
I think there's a difference.
Now, I have said this. I said this at the start. I want us to get to a point where it's off code to make joke. When you get to the level that Chris Rock is, Chris Rock don't have to tell a joke about another black anybody.
Right.
He's financially set.
Yeah. That's where we were wanting. You kind of explained that the thing that pained you the most was there's no amount of money that will allow you to let another black person be the butt of your jokes. No. And I like how you phrased that when you were saying. So when they're asking, so does Chris have any accountability? Yes, he does. He has to own up to what he said. Now, what he said could have been met with words, but it was met with an opposite reaction to what he did. So, but that opposite reaction outweighs, in a sense, what happened, because you can't just be saying because he said this, I hit him. That's not going to fly in school. That's not going to fly in work. That's not going to fly in anything. So that reaction was something that was, in a sense, unlawful. So I don't think he knew or followed Jada's video where she expressed how difficult hair loss was. I'm pretty sure he's that big of a star that he did not know about Jada telling us on her Red Table Talk that she has alopecia. I'm pretty sure of that. So for everybody saying that he should have known, I don't think that we should think that he knew about her condition. We'll see. I don't want a comedian joking on me because I'm dark skinned, or I might have to will him too. Disclaimer: I've never hit anyone. Okay, so she's just talking. Okay, all right, got you. But I understand. I understand where you're going, and you know when you sit on the front row of a comedy show, you are setting up. Yeah.
To me, if I go to a comedy show,
right,
I am fair game. It is not as if Chris Rock walked into their house and just started making jokes on them.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is they went to an event by choice where if you have watched the Oscars, that is what happens. That is
established.
That is nothing new. That is
jokes are going to be made. Yeah.
Jokes are going to be made at the expense of the people that are there.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we saying that now Jada is in the class of people that can't be joked on, and who sets that class And then are we saying now that if you joke on somebody in that class, the consequence can be up to physical assault? And if that's the case, that is a dangerous precedent. Is all I'm saying. It's
No,
a slippery slope. If I don't want to be joked on, or if I'm not sensitive, right, I just don't go. Right. And yeah.
No, correct. No, correct. This episode has been brought to you by Vantage Point. I encourage you to watch this movie. Somebody said next topic. Michael Blackson does it all the time. But I think as comedians, given their history, Will Smith was recently mentored by Dave Chappelle just for him to conquer his fear of being on stage. Dave Chappelle is known for making offensive jokes. I get it, but it doesn't take away from personal battles that someone has gone through. I was bullied for my complexion, so I don't know anyone making jokes. Don't want anybody making jokes about it because it's going to hit me differently than it would you. I totally agree. And again, everybody has their vantage point of who was in the wrong, what could have been done differently. So anybody can have their own opinion on this. The two people or the three people that really have to make amends from this, or come to some common ground, would have to be Will Smith, Chris Rock, and Jada Pinkett Smith. I think those are the three subject matters of this whole story. So I'm hoping that Will can find it in his heart to forgive Chris Rock. I hope that Chris Rock does reach out to them to explain what he was trying to do, and if he was off key in that he definitely lets them know. And I'm hoping that the world in itself can find some grace in this too, because we have all operated off of emotion and said something that we shouldn't have said, and that we wish we could take back. But hey, you're given time now, and this is what it's talking about, that we need to go to our brothers and our sisters, and we need to ask for forgiveness if we have wronged them, and get that all together, because we can't go to the grave with any malice in our hearts. So
Arthur, I think that was a great summation. Have you ever heard the statement, hurt people hurt people?
Oh, Corinthian. There we go.
So we have a lot of work that we need to do amongst our community, because we have to get to a point where we are uplifting each and every one of us, other than tearing us down.
Correct.
We live in a culture now where people will run to see people getting torn down. People run to see, like, everybody goes to take pictures of a train wreck.
Yeah.
It's something we feed off of that destruction, and we have to get to a better place. And I think that comes from a place of hurt. Like, what I'm saying is, if you constantly picking on others and tearing them down, that's because something is hurt. Because if you are whole, if you are complete, you don't have to tear anyone else down.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
You really don't. Like, what I'm saying is, you don't see people that are content, comfortable in their own skin, tearing each other down. For what?
Hurt people. I love
hurt people. Yeah. So, one thing that I definitely think take away, or we can take away in our community, we need to get on code.
Get on code.
It should be a code violation, putting our hands on each other, and also, to Shamika's point, be a code violation, saying offensive jokes.
Let's get rid of the dozens. Let's get rid of the dozens. Let's get rid of the your mama jokes. Let's get rid of that.
That's easier said than done. Yeah. But when you know better, you do better. So,
hey guys, I want to appreciate y'all for listening. We've been on for an hour and 30 tonight. We talked about the Will Smith, Chris Rock. It was current, and now it's going to be in the past for us. We're probably not going to revisit that again. But you heard what we said about it. you might have a different take. Hey, and that's that is your prerogative. You can do whatever you want to with that information or what you saw. But I encourage you to watch the movie Vantage Point. Corinthian, it's been an awesome night, bro. Your mama's so dumb she got hit by a parked car. That
wow. So you just undercut everything you just said. Wow.
Corinthian.
Okay.
It really...
All right. I'm gonna let that ride. No, I'm gonna just let that. I'm gonna let that ride. And she put the funny face emoji.
And the funny face too.
Right. We just ended talking. Okay.
We tried to break it. We tried to get a benediction on it. No, I appreciate your comments and your perspectives, ladies. They're very vital to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And Shamika, your chocolate skin is beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
There we go. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Hey, Corinthian, listen. If you missed our show tonight, and you just logged on, go ahead and hit the rewind button and watch it from the start. We talked about a lot, and I think you're gonna get a lot of insight from it. Corinthian, once your work has just begun, never leave it until it's done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all.
Oh. Love it.
Lord, the darker the flesh, the deeper the roots. Thanks, Cherie. I'm a use.
Hold on, is that when? let me screenshot this real quick because I hadn't. Man.
Hey, Greg.
Okay.
Greg, what you got going on this weekend, bro?
Man, this weekend is gonna be a rest weekend.
Hey, rest up, man.
It's gonna be a rest weekend. Watch some of the games, hopefully.
Oh, Corinthian, Final Four. Who you going for, man?
Well, our dad went to UNC.
All right.
So I'm a pull for UNC. My dark horse team, who I wanted to win it, if it wasn't UNC, was either St. Pete.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach for getting the Seton Hall job. That's awesome. He definitely deserved it. But I was also rooting for Houston, but they got knocked out.
You can tell I don't know Tupac. Arthur, that's Tupac. For real, my bad, y'all. I'm
now she about to make Jada mad.
Jada mad. Vantage Point, man. Hey guys, just comment in the comment section if you have a different take on the whole Willens Jada Smith thing. Y'all can talk it amongst yourselves. Corinthian, I'm gonna watch the game. As you know, anybody but Duke. I don't care who wins. Anybody but Duke. If the Blue Devils win, I'm gonna be upset. Duke. Also, anybody but UConn on the female side. Anybody but UConn. I don't care that Paige came back. Anybody but UConn.
I got you.
Hey man, keep swinging, bro.
Yes, sir.
Keep swinging for the next time, man. Until next time, thank y'all for coming to kick it with us. Thank y'all for being an awesome audience. It's just some things you can't do no more. And some place you can't go no more. Some things you say you can't say anymore.
On Bourbon Street or not. But
Corinthian said this is oil. It's probably big. What is bigger than oil? This thing is diamonds. Like, it's like so massive.
I'm not gonna do this with y'all. Y'all not gonna. This is cyberbullying.